Thank you, Neale, for the introduction. And also a big thank you to all the delegates joining us today. We are fully aware it's the 24th of the month and month end is approaching. So a big shout out to Laurence for joining us today, knowing that month end is approaching fast. Inspections, maintenance, and sending those statements out is of key importance. So Laurence, thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure, Schalk. Well, thank you very much for having me today. Good afternoon, or good morning, everybody else.
Great. I think, Laurence, you must be doing something right to be able to sit here this morning and share some nuggets. So I hope you can share some of those nuggets a bit later. This morning, just to introduce myself, I think the reason why I'm sort of sitting here this morning and doing the maintenance side, I want to share a short story. Is when I sold my business last year and was about to leave the company and passing on to the new owners, my maintenance manager resigned. And I had no choice but to fulfill that position myself. I didn't apply for the job. I was just given a job for a while until I managed to replace myself for the new owners. I must be honest, never in my 16 years of running a franchise or franchises did I realize what maintenance involves in a rental department. We manage quite a fair sized book. And I must say, Laurence, just talking about this point, maintenance is not for the faint-hearted. Would you agree with that?
I would definitely agree with that. You've got to have the strong teeth and bones for that kind of job.
Absolutely. Just maybe on this point, can you maybe just give us, in your experience, the typical profile of a maintenance manager doing the maintenance of a rental portfolio that you guys manage? I mean, you guys manage a portfolio of over 1,000 properties. You've gone through many people in the past. I remember a phone call that I received from your principal last year in July, I think it was, and it was, Schalk, we need help in our maintenance department. We're losing people, we're getting complaints from tenants, and can you please get your customer success team to help us? So maybe there's a twofold question, just the profile person you need, and maybe just a quick overview from where you were last year, from when we first met, to what you have implemented and where you are today.
So the kind of person I would say that should be working in a maintenance department or leading a maintenance team as such has to have that strong communication skills, coordinating skills, and really just be a strong verbal person. I have found when I stepped into the office in 2018 that's where we were lacking the staff. Being able to communicate to landlords or to property investors as well as to tenants as to what needs to be done regarding a situation at an asset. So yes, we've had some difficulty in the past. People couldn't handle the pressure, and quite frankly, we also didn't really know how to handle the software that we were working on at that stage and what processes to follow. And that's where you guys came in, and you and your team really made a huge difference in how we were operating our maintenance team last year. And I want to thank you guys for that.
Thank you for that, Laurence. I think before we continue with the questions, I would like just to share with the audience exactly the problem that we've addressed while working with Laurence and his team. So to confirm, you all can see my full screen. Good. If you talk about rental management, if you're still a small size book, under 50, it's mostly done by one person, and that person does mostly all of the activities. Like we've seen in the poll this morning, 20% of our audiences today fulfill most of the activities involving the rental business. Now, this slide really encourages me, or sort of was my front door every day when I was stepping to the maintenance department, to the impact that maintenance have on your rental book. And something as simple as a broken doorknob, an oven that's not faulty, a plug point, or a leak, the most often one is blocked drains, how that has had an impact on your business in terms of time waste, or potentially, if you turn it around, how you can actually add so much value to your client's life. And we've heard earlier from Leah communicating that communication is key to present yourself as someone adding value during a process as simply as fixing a doorknob. So I want to just to get us into the real hard facts of exactly what maintenance is. Maintenance is not something you get paid over and above your management fee of hopefully between 10 and 12% plus VAT. It is it's an activity that's created because of the management of a property, managing a lease. Secondly, if this is not done effectively, you come across as unprofessional, sometimes even incompetent, and as a consequence, you lose business. You lose business because your tenant these days have access to owner's details. They pay 50, 60 bucks, and they can actually phone the owner directly and complain. So this is something that, once again, if not addressed properly, you lose business. The third fact is it does cost you time and money. And the way you manage maintenance will obviously help you either to whether it's going to cost you more or hopefully save you time and money. And the fourth one, which is a really hard one, is if you've done everything possible you can to provide an awesome service and you have that review on Google or Hello Peter that you can't remove and it's not based on the true experience. So this is why maintenance cannot be overlooked. And I also saw today there's 20% of principals sitting in the audience. I want to help you with what I didn't know. I didn't know what was happening in my maintenance department. And maybe you do today, so well done. But for those of you who think it's just something happening at the back office, it is a key to your business. As I say, it costs you money. You could potentially lose a lot of money if not done properly. So going to my next slide, I just want to discuss the problem as how do tenants report maintenance issues? It could either happen through your entry inspection. It happens through your interim and ad hoc inspections. I was happy to see today that many of you do interim and ad hoc inspections on your investors' properties. And lastly, also, it happens when you do your outgoing inspection. Over and above these, you also have your ad hoc maintenance queries. Focusing on the last one, just for a moment, this is what you confirmed this morning, the way of communicating most of the time. The majority of you still receive WhatsApps, phone calls, SMSs, and emails. So maybe on this point, Laurence, we had the conversation in the beginning, and you were also one of the companies that really sort of had the challenge of communication. Can you maybe in your experiences share what WhatsApps, the risk of using WhatsApps in your business, and how you have had to work really hard in the team to move them to following the company procedures that you've set in place?
So first of all, like you guys said, we manage quite a large asset book at the moment. So if a tenant WhatsApps the maintenance department, on the WhatsApp, it comes up with a cell phone number. It doesn't come up with a name. It doesn't come up with an address. Then you've got to reply to that WhatsApp message. Okay, so who are you? Where do you stay? 2 hours later, they would come back. Oh, this is John from whatever the asset address is. So there's a delay in getting to the actual job card or to getting to open the job card and getting a contractor out to resolve the issue. So what's up there, it takes some time.
Can you maybe, we also had the conversation about people leaving, Laurence, and where you had no record of maintenance reports.
That's correct. So they would either use their own private phones, or the agent would receive the WhatsApp phone into the office. So we've got no track record of when the actual call came through or when the actual issue was reported, which causes delays and confusion at the end of the day. And it just makes it difficult to then close that ticket at the end of the day.
Good. So we would agree then, thank you for that, Laurence. The shortcomings with the above is, like Roland just said, there's no record keeping. It's unprofessional. And sometimes you have to create a group where you have to include the investor. Unfortunately, in the beginning, it's all good and well, but when something goes wrong, the investor will make direct contact with your tenant, and at the end of the lease, you will have the challenge or the risk of losing the tenant to the owner if they can prove that you have not managed the lease as per the contract, lease agreement. Thirdly, it's very time consuming. It might seem as a quick fix and a solution, but it is, if you look at the bigger picture, it is very time consuming to put everything together at the end and to be able to provide a professional report of the maintenance or the ticket experience that was reported. You have unnecessary call-out fees. This is something that I discovered as I was sort of fulfilling the position of maintenance manager, where a plumber or a project manager has to go out and inspect the property and only post that be able to quote. With online reporting, you receive the issue with evidence, photos, i.e. a serial number of an air conditioning or oven, and you can actually solve the problem with the report being given by the tenant. So you save a call-out fee, and hopefully in time, you can negotiate with your contractors better rates because you save them time traveling to properties just to quote for a property. Also, the risk if one of your agents leave and if they use the above communication methods, you have no track record of what maintenance has been done on a property in the past, and potentially sometimes can report to a body corporate where an issue is continued to persist, even though the investor has fixed it numerous times. It could be a common property problem. Also, you have no timeline in which the job is done, and you have no reminders to help yourself to proactively communicate with your investor, your agent, and the contractor to see that the job is done timelessly. And lastly, quality control. Someone in the past, we did this, where someone had to go out and to ensure that before we make final payment, the investor requested that we do a final quality control check and actually had to inspect the property. Now, again, this is costing us money and time, and not the most effective way of doing this. Looking at the future, and we'll get that in a minute, is this could also be dealt with online reporting. So we have discussed this in the past, the previous masterclass, but I want to just spend 2 minutes on this, on explaining the typical maintenance process. So as I've explained, it usually comes from inspections and ad hoc maintenance inquiries. It's reported to the agent or the maintenance manager. The maintenance manager has to inform the contractor and all contractors and receive multiple quotes. At the same time, it would be good for the maintenance manager to inform the tenant that we have received your ticket and we are dealing with it, and we'll get back to you shortly or as soon as possible. Inform the investor that the maintenance ticket has been reported and we are busy getting quotes before we will proceed with the work. Then quotes, you receive the quotes, you have to get the landlord approval, you have to give the contractor the go-ahead, you have to then instruct for the maintenance to happen. You have to then, and here's where the magic comes in, you then receive the invoice with photos from your contractor before payment can be made. Now, this process is key, or this is the reality for every maintenance ticket. The question is, how do you do this professionally and effectively? If done on the traditional methods, SMS, email, and WhatsApp, it is impossible to go to this journey, fixing a doorknob or replacing a window, for example, and without a certain workflow. I want to get to the future of maintenance requests, is where a tenant report a maintenance issue with evidence of what is wrong with the property or the defect that they're reporting. You can inform the investor and then request quotes from your contractors. There's more than this. It is the email thread. The communication is all kept in one place. For future reference, if you do need to go back onto any of the communication or communication that you have either between the tenant, the contractor, or the investor. You have reminders as and when you want it. and you have templates to update parties on any step of the process. Now, Laurence, I want to ask you the question. We introduced this last year in your company, and you were very resistant to saying we can go with this. We did launch this, and today I think 30% of all your maintenance requests is done online. Can you maybe just give us, in your experience, what was the initial challenges you had with your tenants, if there were any, agents, and your owners with introducing this new concept to your company?
I think like with anybody, there's always a bit of a resistance in trying something new. You're so used to doing the old style or the old way, and you want to keep on doing that because everybody knows that kind of system. When the maintenance request ticket was introduced to us last year, yes, we were resistant about it. We tried it out and we actually saw the benefits of using this in how it speeds up the whole process of getting a job card closed at the end of the day. In the past, where it took us 7 to 10 days to close a job card to get the work done, now it's down to 3 days, maximum 4 days, which is fantastic for me because that's the kind of service I would like to give my clients. So yes, from the tenant's point of view, there was a bit of resistance until they also realized the way that this gets done. It's going to resolve their issue quicker for them, and they can carry on staying in the property. The property owner was quite impressed to see that within 24 hours we could provide them a quotation and get approval to get the job done. And from my contractor's point of view as well, the information that gets shared with them made it much easier for them to prepare a quotation for us.
Can you maybe just give us input or feedback on your conversations with contractors? What was their feedback on you providing them with a job card with photos and a description? Were they still wanting to go out to the property, or were they happy to quote from the job card for the job that's applicable?
They were very happy to quote directly from a job card with photos and with relevant information provided on the job card. Like you said, they would normally go out to the property, go and inspect the damage, then go back to the office, prepare a quotation, sometimes go back if they've missed something else. With the way of the maintenance tickets, the way information gets entered into the system with the photos, they can, when they receive the job card, immediately within 10-15 minutes provide us with a quotation on certain items that needs to be done at the property, where normally we would wait 24 hours.
Laurence, maybe just for the audience as well today, how often does it happen that when tickets are reported, new maintenance issues, that you can actually dismiss the ticket and give feedback to tenants saying, it's not our responsibility, this is actually for your cost?
Very easily and very quickly. Like I said, as soon as you get that information from the ticket, you can immediately then reply back to the tenant and say, listen, changing a light bulb, that forms part of your lease agreement as your responsibility to change, not the landlord. So yes.
Okay, so what percentage would you say of maintenance tickets that's logged is actually dismissed because of it's a tenant's responsibility? And now you actually have photos to prove that is, Mr. Tenant, your responsibility.
Right now, I would say from all the maintenance tickets we receive via this system, with I would say let's make it 10% of the tickets. Okay. We can quickly resolve. Yeah.
Thank you for that, Laurence. So this is the future of maintenance requests, which is definitely a game changer and help you, whether you have one property or 100 properties, to effectively and professionally communicate to your investor, tenant, and contractors along the journey. The second opportunity that you have is the future of maintenance through inspections. Imagine you become a property management company that proactively communicate possible maintenance items that will ensure your annual increase in rent, or will prevent the tenant from vacating and going to moving into the property next door that was recently painted. So if inspections done properly, once the inspection arrives back at the office, there's certain maintenance items that needs to be addressed. There's some urgent and there's some not so urgent, but can be communicated to the investor for proactive or preventative maintenance management. The beauty of online inspections is where you arrive back at the office and you can, from the inspection, trigger tickets to activate a maintenance activity, and obviously leading to the whole process. Laurence, just help maybe our audience today with how you're planning to, or how you've already implemented the proactive maintenance management in your company.
So first of all, from the ticket maintenance, they have to provide you with photos, which we can easily share with the property investor, because most of them would like to see the damage, and they can quickly make a decision as well as to, do they want to do the repairs now, or is it something that can wait a bit later on. Then also with regards to the interim inspections that we've implemented last year, it is a nice way of also sharing information with the property investor as to what long-term maintenance is needed, what short-term maintenance is needed, and how that will affect the possible rental increase we can provide them within a year's time when the lease is up for renewal.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. The outgoing inspection is usually very time-consuming for many agents or inspectors. And this is how we've helped Laurence and the team to turn this into a breeze, if I can call it that. 30 days prior to the exit inspection, there's an email that's been sent off with a certain template that was created to inform the tenant of what the property or apartment should look like when they vacate the property. Usually, and I'm sure you'll agree with me, Laurence, to the end of the month, when tenants have vacated and there's maintenance issues, those 3, 4, 5 days post the exit date is where tenants sometimes want to also get quotes to do certain maintenance items that were supposed to be in place before move out. Is that right, Laurence?
Correct, yes.
So by informing your tenant 30 days prior to move out with a copy of the incoming inspection, we have helped them to mitigate the time waste and hassle of having properties passed on to new tenants with still maintenance items in it. And what the template has helped them with is, should the property not be in the same condition as when they moved in, it's then on to Only Realty, the company, to instruct the contractors to fix, and the money then will be deducted if it can be proven that it was excessive wear and tear or by mistake of the tenant. We have much less issues with exits, and we obviously achieved and also a quicker deposit payout. And that's the biggest challenge rental companies face, is where money is not in the account within 14 days, and you go to the Hello Peter or the Google reviews. We have also helped the if we do inspections properly, to be able to create tickets from your inspection so that you can do maintenance without having any other communication but a ticket from your inspection. So you're implementing this at the moment, Laurence, and just your feedback on how the feedback from, first of all, investors. What's feedback that you're receiving from your investors at the moment?
So with us sharing our entry inspections 30 days before they vacate the properties, it really helps, because they actually come forward and say, oh yeah, I saw my child draw on the wall, I'm responsible to pay for the wall here, can we do that before I move out, because I obviously need my deposit to pay for another property. So that kind of thing helps us in releasing a deposit very quickly, and also to hand over a property to a new tenant in a better condition as what it was while the tenant is in the previous tenant is in the property. Our investors also like that feature, because now they also get updated as we open up a job card just before exit to say the tenant is liable for XYZ, and he's taking responsibility for it. We're making an agreement to either take this off the deposit, or the tenant will be paying the contractor himself, or they will be making use of their own contractor, and then we'll do a final inspection to record these repairs to make sure it was done properly as well. So yes, it's a good point for the property investors to see as well.
Thank you for that. I think I want to conclude today by asking you a last question. We are firm believers that tech does not replace the property manager or the asset manager. Given the method that we sort of prescribe to being online and creating more efficiencies, we've discussed over many customer success sessions, Laurence, the times when you do find it as the most appropriate to have telephonic conversations with your investor. Can you share with the delegates today just when you have implemented that and the success of that, please?
We basically implemented last year when you guys helped us to bring the Red Rabbit system up to date and to train all the staff and myself included. We started approaching our property owners instead of sending them an email, which they might see only in 2 days' time or later this evening when they get home. We started communicating verbally with our investors to say, right, this is the condition of your property. This needs to be done. Burst geyser, broken door handle, and building that kind of relationship with them helps us because we can manage the property in a much better way. They will also say, yeah, I know that the door handle needs to be replaced, but I also want to do repairs to the kitchen cupboards. I want to replace that. Can you help with a quotation for that kind of thing? So it actually just improves the workflow and the relationship that we have with our investors.
Absolutely. Tell me, Laurence, have you had investors suggesting that you deduct small amounts of money and kept back for them to do maintenance at a later stage if you do make those recommendations?
Yes, we do. And that's one of the nice features that we have with WeConnect, that we can actually keep money aside for the property investor in his wallet. So on a monthly basis, we can deduct 500 Rand, 1,000 Rand from his rental income for big projects like redoing a kitchen, redoing a bathroom, which we all know costs quite a few thousands of Rand. So yes, that's a fantastic feature that we have, and we do make use of that with our investors.
Excellent. So yeah, thank you, Laurence.
My pleasure.
I want to conclude by saying today that maintenance, as being in the maintenance position for 6 weeks, opened my eyes to the opportunity rental property managers have to communicate professionally and create wow experiences by fixing doorknobs. So thank you to the audience. Thank you, Neale, and Laurence, once again, thank you for making time available at this time of the month.
My pleasure. Thank you, everybody.